Member of Parliament for Adaklu, Kwame Agbodza. He's right here in the studio. Good morning, and thank you for joining us for this interaction.
Good morning.
Okay, great to have you.
Yeah.
And as it is, following the budget reading, of course, the plenary being apprised of what the 2026 financial statement will be by the Finance Minister, Kisiel Latoforsen, roads also seem to have come up comprehensively over the period. Yeah. But even then, you've been doing some important work. You had to resolve the issues about the Pokwase in Sawam Road. How has it been for you at the ministry?
Well, thank you very much. I want to take the opportunity to thank the TV3 and then the Media General Network for all the support you give government in covering activities in all sectors and in every community. And you are a platform that is viewed is seen as a credible platform, including the people in Adaklu. We are very grateful for this. I want to thank you specifically for being there wherever I go across the country to interact with the public contractors and everybody on the effort President Mahama is making to improve the road network in the neighborhood of everybody. It's been an opportunity to work with everybody, including yourselves, to improve the road network. It's tough, but it's something that we are happy to do to make sure the road network is improved. So it's work in progress. We are on course to achieve our aim.
The subject matter of the policy of the big push had been a big campaign ticket for the NDC, and since then, John Dramani Mahama, the president, alongside you, the ministers, and then the government entirely, seem to have made it a focal point of road development. Tell us realistically how expansive it is, how much also it's going to cost the taxpayer, and how long it's going to be rolled out.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've had cause to be asked this question a number of times. If I consider the scope of the big push, in the 2026 budget, the finance minister announced the Echiaman for bridge and then the Accra-Kumasi expressway. Arguably, this will probably be the biggest ever road infrastructure investment on the continent of Africa at a particular time. It is arguably the biggest, very comprehensive, and would address the most significant road travel bottlenecks across the country. Previously, the finance minister announced a 10 billion big push initiative as part of the President Mahama's vision on infrastructure. And then indeed, of course, big push is not entirely a road initiative, but he said that for the next 2 years, the bigger focus will be on road because many other things pivot around and road. So currently we are more than 60 billion in terms of projects that have already gone through procurement and other things. It's in excess of 60 billion, and it's in every region. And we have currently been able to work with our contractors, and majority of contractors participating in this are already on site. I mean, I'm happy to thank all road contractors and consultants who have been working with us over the years, especially those participating in the big push. I was excited when I got the last briefing on Monday. Some contractors have gone 30% of their scope already. You heard repeatedly the president saying that some contractors are even saying that the 24 months is too long for them. They are determined to showcase the excellence of the Ghanaian contractor. I keep saying that this opportunity would not repeat itself easily. So it is an opportunity for the Ghanaian contractor, consultant, and every service provider to showcase that we are the best, we can be the best. The days when everybody says the Ghanaian contractor is not fit for purpose. Once we are using entirely, taxpayers' money, not money borrowed from anywhere, we want to, as much as possible, make sure the Ghanaian contractor is at the center of this. And many of them are determined to build roads that would last, and then make sure that the Ghanaian is proud of what we have done as a people. So we are on course in terms of the big push.
This focus on having Ghanaian contractors as well as others within the value chain of the industry do the execution. Why is that critical?
Well, first of all, this is taxpayers' money. We have other foreign contractors partnering or participating in it, but largely we have Ghanaian contractors because this is a homegrown situation, and the value must remain here. Much of what we use to build roads is materials from Ghana, the aggregates and everything, except maybe for machinery and bitumen, which we import. So once the Ghanaian is at the center of this, the value, the dividend and everything remains here. It spurs growth in almost every sector, banking, supply chain and everything, and then job creation. You heard the finance minister when he was presenting the budget. We did a matrix. The big push alone should generate close to 500,000 jobs within the period of which we are doing this construction. And these range from, menial jobs to high-end jobs in terms of civil engineers and quantity surveyors and everybody along the value chain. So it's not merely a road project. It's a growth pole in a subset of the President's 24-hour economy policy.
So it means that ultimately you're hoping that you can complete these projects within the stipulated period?
I'm not hoping. We are determined to complete these projects by the close of 2027. And we're determined to do this, and we know with the support of the Ghanaian contractor and everybody, we are going to do this simply because we know for sure that one of the reasons projects go beyond their contractual period is the issue of unreliable payment and other things. And as the finance minister said in the 2025 budget, he set aside over 13 billion Ghana cedi to start that project. In the 2026 budget, is setting aside additional 30 billion. So we already have over 40 billion EMR between this year and next year. And I haven't received a single certificate this year for project because the contractors are now on site. I'm hopeful that by the middle of next month, I'll receive some certificates because I know some people have done 30% of the work. So it is fully funded, and that is why we believe that we'll be able to deliver this project on time. We are not intending to make this project the usual complaints about we couldn't finish because we've changed the scope or variation. There will be no unauthorized variations on this project. We work through it. Variations that come within the scope of the work are allowable, but if it's not part of what has been contracted, we are not going to take it. Even if it's in my constituency, additional work which has not been contracted will not be allowed, so that we can stay focused and do the work within the 24-month. I can guarantee you President Mahama will be commissioning some of these projects before the 24-month that is contracted elapses.
One thing that has plagued the industry have been the constant concerns from contractors about delay payment. How are these going to be resolved within this policy implementation?
There are many factors that lead to a project not being completed on time. One I've mentioned already, which is the unreliable payment regime. The contractors invest money and then they raise certificate. You said the project is 24 or 36 months and you raise a certificate, and for 24 months it's not paid. Naturally, that project is not going to be done within the period of time. And sometimes also we send contractors to a site and say build a road from A to B, and then in the course of the work we want to extend the road to C. Obviously, that is going to change the time within which the contractor must work. So it is all about how you project manage the specific things. And we want to use Big Push as a standard of doing proper project management. Because elsewhere, everywhere that we go to, that we are proud of how things are done, It is done within a certain framework. It is done within a certain mindset. The idea that, oh, okay, you start and then later you can do anything will not happen on Big Push. We are operating this project within a stipulated time, within a certain confines of the contract. And I'm happy that many of the contractors are happy with this, and then we are working with it. That is why we are very confident that we are going to complete many of these projects.
So do I take it then that the new route for the Accra-Kumasi expressway, as the ministry has started by way of your policy, is a flagship project for Big Push?
Yes, though I must say that let's cast our minds back. President Nkrumah did 19 kilometers of Tema-Accra road, and that has remained the most significant road or most iconic road in our country. It's concrete and everything. The previous government started trying to expand it and other things. The source of funding has been undefined. The President Mahama has directed that we take every step to make sure that the contractors' efforts are complemented, and then so the work will continue. But Accra-Kumasi, the traffic volumes in our country says that the biggest traffic volume is from Accra to Kumasi. Of course, Kumasi is the second most important city in our country, and it's within the central corridor of our country. Now, building an expressway, as the first study shows, that we can actually make the distance about less than 200 kilometers, because currently it's about 250 kilometers. In an expressway will be the new game changer in terms of creating a growth pool. I was explaining to somebody yesterday. Currently, everybody who comes to Ghana want to set up industry is looking for a piece of Tema, simply because they want to be closer to the port, and because the network beyond that is bad. When the Accra-Kumasi expressway is completed, there's a future plan to link the railway from the port to connect a proposal that will take the railway. You know, there's a proposal, central corridor, all the way to activate Boankra and others. It means that we can actually encourage industry to relocate along this free corridor of the Accra-Kumasi, leaving Accra. So you don't necessarily have to set up within the Tema-Inclave, where land is expensive. You can start to have a growth pool within the central corridor and other things. And that will significantly cut travel time by 40%. That is productivity. That is new jobs being created. So yes, the Accra-Kumasi expressway is a significant part of the Big Push project that we are at the studies and the design stage currently, and that will become a live project. How
is the contracting or the allotment going? Is it going to be in lots for different contractors to implement, or just for one big contractor to implement?
You'll be surprised to know that even under the Big Push, the ones that are on site, we split the project into lots, simply because, you know, naturally, contractors would love to have a road. One contractor doesn't mind having a road from Accra to Paga, because it's good to have all these volumes of work. But realistically, the level of mobilization you need to do to build this road are beyond what one contractor can do. So even under the current program, we break the project largely 25 kilometers, 30 kilometers, so everybody can go to site and work within a reasonable period of 24 months and complete the work. So no, there's not going to be one contractor doing Accra to Kumasi for 6 lanes and interchanges and other things. That would be too much for any contractor in the world to do. In any case, we have so many contractors capable of doing. We want to give opportunity to many contractors to participate in this.
Then that would mean that there could be concerns raised that if you're focusing on Big Push, you know, it means that the smaller ones get nipped in the bud. For example, the other ones that are arterial roads, connecting roads, feeder roads, etc. What happens to them by way of assurances to contractors?
This is a very important question, and I keep telling people, Big Push is not equal to all road interventions in the country. As we speak, we are doing more in terms of length. We are doing more other roads than the big push. Okay, if you were to go to, let's say, the infamous Afariwa Junction into, how do you call it, Ashama currently. There's a contractor they're working with. They're doing drains and a number of interventions in, how do you call it, Ashama and other things. They are not big push projects. The contractors are on site working. There are so many other projects going on road, including projects we came to meet, which we have encouraged contractors to go to site, and we paid some of the contractors so that they can go back to site. So there's a lot going on. And in addition to that, in the budget, you notice that the finance minister announced a 1,000-kilometer agricultural feeder road. These are roads that connect the most significant production centers in terms of agriculture produce that would feed into these main arteries we are building. And this is 1,000 kilometers within the same window that we are doing the big push. And this one is funded, is supposed to be funded by the World Bank and other things. So we have different interventions going on at the same time. But obviously, the big push is much more significant, because what can be much more significant than for the final time building the road between Winchi, Sola, and Wa in a first-class asphalt road, building the road between Wa and Bolga, building the road, finally completing Tama through Hohwe, through Jasikan, all the way through Pasa and all those things. Those are the transformational things we are talking about. But they are the other ones that we are doing, which are not so fanciful that people are not talking about. But there are big ticket ones, the Dambai Bridge. The contractor is mobilizing to site. We shall complete the Dambai Bridge in the tenure of President Mahama. The Chairmanfo Bridge, we are almost ready to go to site. These are things that we have dreamt about, has appeared in many budgets since President Rawlings' time, but finally, Ghana is in a position, and we are very lucky to have President Mahama, who will be the president who will finally take us to that destination to get these roads done in our lifetime.
And in the budget, Keshalato Fosin, as the finance minister, also made an announcement. And I know, as part of the campaign, that it was again reiterated or stated that there will be a highway of a bridge of a sort between... Is it over the Volta Lake, Afram Plains area? Yes,
that is the Chairmanfo one. The designs are almost complete. I'm expecting the final briefing this week, between today and Friday, and which would pave the way for the procurement process and then the contractor to start work on that one as well. If you go to that part of the country, you see how much we've left the potentials of the Afram Plains and other things. We always talk about it. Afram Plains is a food basket and everything. But the fact that we cannot cross easily, currently we cross with a ferry or pantu, whatever you call it currently, but we need to build a bridge. That bridge is about 3 kilometers and a very brilliant design being done currently. One that is bridged, you'll be surprised how much investment is ready. And don't forget, that enclave forms part of President Mahama's Volta Basin, development basin, which is supposed to unearth our biggest ever agro-processing potentials in the country. And how do you call it? Investors flocking from all over the world saying that once you do this, we are ready to invest our own money in all sorts of ways that will create the jobs that we needed, the sustainable jobs, increase our export potentials, and keep the city stable and make Ghana a place that we all are proud of and want to stay and work.
As part of the literary review and then the sector engagement in terms of the stakeholder, etc., I engaged some of the contractors, and they said that over the years, over the last couple of years especially, they've been plagued with unpaid interim payment certificates that have been raised. How much do you, as Roads Ministry, the government of Ghana, owe contractors generally?
Currently, and I must say that it's a very sad situation, and it's partly, I'm a member of parliament. I know how many members of parliament insist and how many letters I have on my table from paramouncies, from churches, from businesses, everybody asking for their road to be awarded on contract at the same time, irrespective of what the budget can accommodate. So at the time of transition, we were plagued with a contract on site in excess of 110 billion Ghana cedi. And a GOG certificate unpaid was about 21 billion. At the moment, the road fund unpaid bills is in excess of 6 billion. Cocoa Board, Cocoa Road Program, about 5 billion. So far more, almost close to 40 billion is owed contractors across the range of agencies that were awarding road. I must say that the finance minister, on the orders of the president, authorized and paid some amount of money in excess of 5 billion in the last 2-3 weeks. Indeed, that would appear to be one of the biggest payments at a single time in our recent history as well. The question is, how is this government able to do all these things when the door is shut on us in terms of borrowing and even the monies that were contracted through Parliament cannot be drawn down? Another thing, efficiency and better leadership. I heard people always ask me, how are you able to do this? And people say this is artificial and other things. If it was that easy to create an artificial solutions to the problems, how come the previous government didn't have the acumen to bring those artificial solutions and make the city stable and all these things and then pay contractors? How was President Mahama able to pay contractors over 5 billion even when we cannot borrow? When if actually there was a talk about the taxes reducing, because we are doing things much more efficiently and we are disciplined in the way we do things. That is part of the reason that we are able to do this. And we want to stay the course and make sure that these things we are doing become sustainable. Efficiency, discipline, and better governance does not become like something like just for the election. We want this to become the norm in our country, and we are very grateful for President Mahama insisting that everybody, including appointees, must stay the course and make sure that we do these things for Ghanaians.
You're an industry person, and so you find yourself well placed within the ministry. What do you think you've noticed, whether as a member of parliament with oversight responsibility as a ranking on the sector committee, and then also now as minister, that you think perhaps has been plaguing contracts by way of compliance issues that you think could be reversed or you intend improving to ensure efficiency?
Good. The finance minister, government decided that, for instance, before any road is contracted, we must get commencement certificate. So you cannot just walk to my office today. Even if you are the national chairman of the party, you cannot just walk to my office and demand that a road is awarded on contract. It must go through the process. Do we have a budget line for this? Does the finance minister give commencement authorization for it? If it's not, the answer I will simply give you is, I recognize your demand, but I don't have the power as a minister to do that. So the discipline of restraining yourself not to over-award is one of the first things. Secondly, once that is done, it will address the issue of payment to contractors, because it is only when you over-award and you don't have a budgetary allocation, that is when the contractor works and you cannot pay him. That is why I've had people asking me that you said we owe 40 billion. Where are the roads on which you spend the 40 billion? And I said that when I drove around the country, I asked myself the same question, that when I'm paying contractors, what am I paying for? Because almost all the roads that we are supposed to be paid for, are not complete. Sometimes have gone worse than what it used to be, because contractor abandoned site 4 or 5 years ago. So once that is done as well, it will help. And also the regime of efficiently monitoring and supervision of the project is one key thing we are supposed to do. You heard me repeatedly saying that henceforth, if you are a consultant working on a road project financed by the public purse, I advise that you take a professional indemnity insurance, because gone are the days when the road is built and fails, everybody says, this time round, we'll find out why did the road fail. Is it that the contractor did not comply with the specification? Did the consultant, did you actually certify that the contractor should be paid even though you know that the job was not done according to specification? And the third leg, which is the kind of materials we use. I have taken some samples of bitumen and other things from various roads quietly to a lab in another country. Almost all the roads that the samples we took failed. It turns out that the quality of bitumen that we are using on our road cannot be certified
in Ghana.
In Ghana, because whilst it is not easy for you to even sell water which is not certified by FDA and other things, you'll be surprised that there's no regime of certification for bitumen. Big Push alone, the bitumen to be used on Big Push alone could be in excess of 10 billion Ghana cedi. Imagine buying 10 billion cedis of unwholesome
bitumen.
How do you call it? Paracetamol. Or unwholesome rice into the country. How would the Ghanaian feel? So we are going to insist that some materials, especially those that are big budget ones, bitumen and other things, are only the ones that are certified, that we know that when they are applied, they do what we expect them to do in terms of the road finish. So we are taking different measures to make sure that the vision of President Mahama, when these roads are built, last. And the final one is overloading. We are taking steps to make sure that the regime where anybody can carry any size of goods on our roads will change, because we've had studies that show that even if we finish all the investment, call it 10 billion on the road, and we allow the current regime where people overload 180 tons, 150 tons on the road, it will still deteriorate within 3 years. So we are taking steps to make sure that...
How do you intend doing that?
Okay.
Using the axle loads or making them more effective, etc.? Because the axle load points, etc., have been points of corruption, have been meddled in by middlemen, etc., that their use have not been effective.
A combination of things. Currently, we know that half of the problem comes from the Tema port. The vehicles overload from Tema port. And there are service providers that are contracted by the state. And if they are listening to me, we know. You are contracted by the state. You have built a weighing station at the port. Yet, some of these third-party service providers connive with some unpatriotic custom officers and allow vehicles to load and not use the weigh bridge, and then they get away with it. And as you said, when they get onto the highways as well, the regime of the compliance enforcement has been lax, partly because the level of penalty. Currently, they charge the maximum 5,000. You may be aware that there's a fees and charges in Parliament that raises that penalty of 5,000 to 50,000. We believe that will be an amount of terrain. We are also trying to work with the stakeholders that in the past, when you overload, they just tell you to offload the overloaded section and bring another truck to pick it, to pick the excess load. We are working with the stakeholders to say that now if you overload, when the overloaded portion is taken off, it's not given to you. It is auctioned and the proceed given to the state. We believe a combination of these things will be enough deterrent to stop people from overloading. As the president explained some way, imagine that a truck load from Tema and destroy the road from Tema all the way to Paga. And then a vehicle from Burkina Faso, 3 vehicles come from Burkina Faso to share the same amount of goods in one truck on the roads in Ghana before they cross over and enter Burkina Faso. Without a doubt, Ghana spends or invests more money on our roads than Côte d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, and Togo. How come their roads last longer than ours? It's simply because they insist and enforce strict loading on their road. You dare not do it. But in our country, people think that democracy means that you have the freedom to also do the wrong things. I think we need to take steps to correct that now. So we are working with the stakeholders to make sure that we address those things so that the investment of your money, of our money that we put in the road can be protected. It is not enough to build the road and leave it for few unscrupulous businessmen to overload and destroy the road in 3 years. I don't think that will be appropriate for us to do. So we will also bring a regime that makes sure that the roads are maintained and protected to last the years that we say the design life span that we make for them.
But critically, making sure that the roads and the contracts continue. And we've seen that many of these construction works started from the previous regime are still continuing. By 2017, there was an announcement that though there should be a halt, there should be audit, etc. The finance minister, in his budget reading, did indicate that there were audit processes ongoing. So how are you doing that in tandem with the constructions or ongoing simultaneously doing the auditing? Okay.
So when NPP took that decision in 2017, which suspended many roads, including roads in Adaklu, we gave an analogy that it's just like saying that there's a very bad student in a school or a very, very bad teacher in a school. So you are closing down the school. You should allow the school to go on and then you look out for that bad teacher or bad student. So what President Mahama directed is that no road contract should be suspended or stopped at any time. So since the beginning of the year, we never asked any contractor to stop work. And in fact, you saw me going around the country encouraging contractors, keep working. So the audit has been going on, but mostly about the certificates in the system. And there's one thing that we didn't see people talk about much, is that the level of waste that accrued out of the stoppage of the road meant that many roads which should have been completed were not completed and actually deteriorated, which caused a lot of loss to the state. And indeed, a quarter or so of the big push projects in terms of value were not things that President Mahama actually promised, because we promised to do new things. However, when we took over, we realized that many of the projects did not have any reliable source of funding, and the projects were stalled and the contractors were not on site. Existing. So he encouraged and he directed that we take on all those projects as part of Big Push. Some of our colleagues opposite actually said, oh, you are mentioning a road we started. Of course, the contractors were not there. Ofankor contractor was not there. How do you call it? Adenta, Dodua, the contractor was not there. Many of them. Of course, Kaswa, Winiba, the contractor was working, but there was no guarantee as to whether he was going to be paid. All of them have been carried on now. And I want to thank the contractor working on the Ofankor Road. I mean, the pace since the difficult days, I think, are over now. We are projecting that by April next year, all that will be, in fact,
that's Maripoma.
The latest projection I saw, we will complete way ahead of schedule, which will be a very good thing for us. So
we went there on Monday.
Yes.
You can even find
exactly.
On the screen,
we are happy to complete all road projects that have been started, because this is investment of Ghanaians' money. And then I know a proportion of Ghanaians were worried about government coming and stalling and abandoning projects. President Mahama have shown the way. We are not stalling any road project. All of them are going on, and as and when we raise the funds, we'll complete all of them, in addition to the new things we have also promised.
Right. I thought I had enough time. Apparently, time is not there. So I have too many questions.
Okay.
And so I'll just do a few selections of the road. There's a concern that a number of the stalled projects haven't been restarted. We have the Junction Mall, and then also in Takrady, there's supposed to be some overpass.
Okay.
So the question then is, we were told that because we had the debt restructuring, so it affected the funding and the sources of those funding for those roads. When are we going to have restarts of some of those projects?
I had privilege of joining the finance minister in China, and I must say that Sino Hydro is the one responsible for the Takrady situation and other things. But you will notice that even then, the biggest problem there was the ground where the interchange was built. We have gone to use our own resources to remedy all that. So it's all asphalted. What is outstanding is the completion of the ramp and the flyover, if you want to call it, at Takrady. The Independence Square to Junction Mall is stalled, but as we speak now, with an agreement with one of the contractors, the Kweshi Bridge, if you go there now, we are trying to finish that within 2 weeks so that we can open another lane to decongest that. And then when you come from, the ring road hitting the T-junction going to Independence Square, we'll remedy all those little things that would make the road more trouble. And even approaching the ramp at the Junction Mall, we are working within 2-3 weeks. We should see some improvement on those ones whilst we wait for the ultimate solution to get the debt situation resolved for the contractors to go to site and complete those projects as scheduled. Okay,
this one is coming from Christian. He says that we have single-man contractors who do grass cutting, desilting, and then they do some feeder arterial roads. How would they be catered for within this sector? Because it looks like everything is going to only the big boys.
No. In fact, as I said, we are doing more on other roads than the Big Push. The Big Push is flagship, so it's being talked about. The roadside cutting and other things are ongoing. In fact, highways alone have awarded maybe in excess of 2 billion cedis worth of maintenance works across the country. And you saw the advert in the papers, and ordinary Ghanaian small contractors have gone in and have bought their bids, and some of them have started work alone. All these ones fall under maintenance, which is what informed the restructuring of the road fund to road maintenance trust fund, which is all supposed to support the small scale, we call it SMC, small medium contractors. So they are very important in the maintenance of the road network in the country. So we shall continue to work with them as well. Majority of contractors actually fall within that category, small medium contractors, and their activity services are critical. So we dedicate much of the road maintenance trust fund accruals to carry out those activities, in addition to the big push and other development size projects in the road sector.
Okay. And then this one's come from Tina Misa, says Ashama and Afienya Road. Is it part of the new enclave of the big push?
Ashama Afienya Road. Oh, yes, yes. Ashama Afienya is already part of what INZAC is supposed to be doing. It's stalled, but I'm happy to say that the contractor has increased the pace. The debt situation between us and Germany, as you'll notice, I think last week had been completed and signed, so the drawdown will continue. The runabout, the critical one is the Ashama interchange, which will be done. We have moved into Ashama. We are doing a few things in the current as we speak, and the contractors are on site. So a number of the things, within a year or so, there will be some improvement in some of the key, roads within Ashama and Accra, everywhere. We are making interventions everywhere.
The good thing is that you've been going around watching the roads, etc. Yeah. The constant complaint from viewers from the Western and Western North region is that for many of the times, even though they are a huge production hub for Ghana for raw materials, whether for export or for industry, etc., their roads are bad. Yeah. Which road networks in those areas can you pinpointedly say that those communities should be rest assured are being done? Okay,
so one of the major ones is Cape Coast to Takoradi, which is part of the big push, which is being worked on now. We inherited Takoradi to Agona junction, being done by Josmore. You heard me say that the NPP awarded it with a word of mouth and never paid a dime on it. The contractor has raised a certificate close to $80 million currently. We're in the process of paying that contractor. There are a number of roads in Western and Western North that are part of the big push, and other GOG-funded projects that are going on at the same time. But I agree that we need to do a lot more. In fact, at PPE currently are a number of roads, including some in Western and Western North, that are going through procurement. And once that is done, contractors will move in and continue those works as we speak. So I can guarantee you, President Mahama's intervention does not limit itself to any region. When I went round as a minister, the first round, 16 regions I did, I went to regions that there was no contractor working. Today, there cannot be a region that we will say that there's no contractor working within the region, because we must make development an equitable intervention in every region. And I'm proud that President Mahama insists that this is what must be done.
It looks like the motorway is on the lips of many people. Yeah. It's an inherited project, but it's a project you very well know by way of the BOQ, the design, and etc. What is being done there? When is it going to be completed? And what's the rate of work so far, based on what you know?
Okay, you notice that the genesis is that the previous government initially awarded the motorway to a company called Motor Angels under a so-called PPP. We were then in opposition, and we insisted that it was no PPP, because the Motor Angels could not raise the necessary capital to do the investment. And indeed, I'm on record to have said that if it's going to be funded by government of Ghana, then it must be done by a Ghanaian contractor. So Maripoma is the contractor, a wholly Ghanaian company. But the structure of that project also became a problem. That Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund is now the one trying to procure and set up an SPV. But so far, the only money that has been spent on the motorway, which is over $100 million, is basically a consolidated fund money. But the SPV and other things that have been set up has created a new cost center where people go to work, drive cars, get salary for doing nothing. So the idea is to keep the scope of the motorway, allocate every money that we have for it directly to the building of the road, instead of paying quangos for doing nothing, because it's part of a highway. So highway can supervise this work in addition to a third-party supervision if need be. So motorway scope and the pace is not stalling. The contractor is on site. Work is moving on steadily. But the finance minister, in the course of the year, suggested that the project should go through a process, and the Ministry of Road and Highways, through Ghana Highway Authority, should be responsible for the delivery of it. So Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund will focus on other things, and that is all that is happening. So we are on course with the Accra-Kumasi motorway as well.
Would it be concrete or just like before?
Yes, the wiring surface will be concrete as Nkrumah did it in the past.
Okay, we have to wind up. Our time is up.
Yeah.
But Swedro through Asante mine to Achimodan.
Yes.
You're familiar with them?
Yes. Those sections within the vicinity are being done. Others are also being prepared. Okay. And as and when the budget opportunities come, we will commence work on some of them as well.
All right. Now, you comprehensively were harping on electronic tools. You haven't completed the roads. When are you going to tow them? Okay.
So you'll notice that one of the things I said was that we want to use open, competitive process to select the operator. We are in the final leg of that process. It took months, but we have an opportunity to select an operator that ticks all the boxes and make sure we deploy in our view the best and most efficient tolling system in Africa. I'm very hopeful that before the end of the year, latest first quarter next year, the operator will start rolling out on our roads, which will create an IT platform-based tolling system, making the toll collection efficient, the rates reasonable, and make sure that the accruals are safe and applied to the intended purposes. Unlike the past that people complain, you pay, they will say there's no ticket, and there will be no obstruction in the public right of way in terms of toll booths and other things. We are in the first century. We should have better ways of making people pay. And I'm happy that many IT consultants, banks have come up with solutions that would actually enrich the deployment of the tolling system. That will make us proud of what we have.
Where I live, Ajekwejo to Santor Road,
yes,
into East Legon,
yes,
School Junction.
Yes.
You haven't...
The contractor, Just More is supposed to be working on a portion of that. They are doing concrete work and drains. Maybe they haven't gotten to your side yet, but you are in focus.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kwame Agbodza is the Roads Minister. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much.
There's a question I wanted to ask. Some of the contractors were not happy you come to work at 6 a.m. They expect that you be at 8, and then why do you come to work very early?
Because the work volume is a lot, and I still want to continue to deliver my mandate to my people as a member of parliament. So I still want to try to do 7 hours before parliament starts at 1 or 2 o'clock. And frankly speaking, coming to work at 6 o'clock is more peaceful. The crowd is less, and I can do some paperwork before the crowd comes in. So that's just my nature. I like to start things early. Yeah.
Okay, wishing you all the best for the day as well. Yeah. And I know you have to go to Parliament as well, and juggle that with your ministerial work. But let's say good morning to Frank Fia also, who also is with him at that office, as well as Jude as well, and all those who tend to watch us each morning, TV3 New Day Live, in the office of the Roads Minister. But again, we have to tell you that, well, if it's all the things that you need to know, please know that the CHAMS have got you covered. And so they have the WASI, and now it is time to unlock your global opportunities. So chef and take the SAT, your passport to top universities in the USA, Canada, Europe, and beyond. So whatever it is that you're aiming for Ivy League schools, etc., scholarships are available for you. SAT is your next big thing. And so the question is, why do you have to take the SAT with chef? And please make sure that you do that, with chief. And they give you all the expert preparations, etc. That's it for the interaction. That's it for the show as well. And we hope that you're going to enjoy the uploads across social media on our pages, TV3 Ghana. Bye-bye. See you same time tomorrow.
Obi